Hello everybody, it's Mike here at Games from Scratch, and earlier today I was asked, hey, are you going to cover the Lumix game engine? And I'm like, I did, I'm sure I did. And so I checked, I was going to share the link in. Well, I didn't, actually, I guess. So I thought I did, and recently I did a list of C++ game engines, and the Lumix engine was at the bottom of that list. In no particular order, by the way, so there's no judgment by the fact that it was listed last, but you can see here, I have done a collection of C++ game engines. Lumix is a C++ game engine, and it made that list, but I've never actually done a video on Lumix itself, so let's rectify that. That's exactly what you're going to see here today. A bit of a brief introduction to what the Lumix engine is. Should it interest you? How cool is it? Should you check it out? And yeah, that's about it. This is also a little bit of a test. I've always been a little curious if it's any point at all in publishing videos on the weekend. Are you guys all gone? Do you guys want videos on the weekend, or should I just wait till Monday? So I'm going to throw this out there today, see what the viewership is like, see if it is worthwhile to push things out weekend or not. I'd also be interested in hearing from you guys. Do you like videos on the weekend, or should I just wait until, you know, Monday when you guys are all trying to kill time at work or school or whatever it is? So anyways, today we are looking at the Lumix game engine. Now, I'm going to toss all these links down below, so don't worry about the links, but it is an open source engine. As you can see, is up on GitHub. It is available under the MIT source code license. The MIT license is one of my favorites. Basically, do what you want, don't sue me. So I like that. There's not really a lot of limitations on what you can do. The primary code itself is in C++, and let's take a jump over and look at the features of the Lumix engine. Now, do keep in mind, this is a one-man effort, and at times that shows, but it's also very impressive for a one-man effort. It's very similar in scope to the Lyman engine. I guess the Lumix engine and Lyman engine were destined to be somewhat similar, but it is one of those one-man C++ efforts that you gotta look at and go, God, I can't believe one man did this. And then you also sit back and go, okay, what do I use this for? And, you know, it's hard to argue why you would use this over something like Unity or Unreal Engine, unless you wanted to get involved in more of a grassroots style engine, or you're looking for a research project, something along those lines, or you wanted something a little bit smaller and you wanted to heavily customize it for yourself. So for the inevitable questions of why should I be interested in that? Well, those are your reasons. So what are the features of the Lumix game engine? Well, obviously, number one is that it is actually open source. MIT license is a very liberal license, so that's pretty sweet. Next up, it's high performance, it's simple, it's 3D, it's component based, almost everything can be hot reloaded, almost everything is data defined, concurrent world editing, so I believe multiple people could actually work on the world at the same time by that definition. It is multi-platform, sort of. It runs fine on Windows. Linux, you're gonna have to build it for yourself, and there might be some features missing. I imagine if it can be ported to Linux, it can also be ported to Mac. One of the joys of an open source project, if you want to see it on your platform, port it to your platform. There's also plugin support. We'll look at plugins in just a second. It's configurable via Lua and simple JSON-like language. Immediate mode, debug GUI, built-in profile, up to 4 controllers, supported data packing, and fiber-based job system. It has back-end renderers for Direct3D, OpenGL, a deferred renderer, physically based rendering, HDR, multi-threaded custom culling, data-defined pipeline, GLSL, shader-like language. It's got an FBX importer, blah, 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 blah. It's got pretty much the features you would expect in a game engine. It's got various different shadows supported, post-processing, special effects such as HDR, God Rays, Bloom, SSAO, FXAA. It's got particle system support for various different audio formats. There is a networking system using ENET. ENET is also the networking system used by the Godot game engine, by the way. Scripting support for Lua. There is also a plugin for C#, and there is a plugin for JavaScript. So if you'd rather code your game logic using those engines or those languages, there are also plugins available. We'll get to plugins in a second. Actually, you know what? Let's deal with plugins now. So we head on over to the plugins page, and there are plugins for JavaScript, FBX import using the actual Autodesk SDK. There also is an FBX importer built directly into the game engine itself. We got HTML, CSS, rendering, C#, networking, and Turbo Badger. Really kind of a cool one and give you an idea of what these plugins can do. There's also a real-world terrain plugin. This allows you to bring in assets and data from, I think it was Amazon and Google, and use them as levels within your game. So enough of what the Lumix engine is all about. Let's take a look at it. It's about a 75 or an 80 meg download. Just download, extract out the zip, go into the bin folder, run the executable that's there. And here you can see the editor in action. Very simple game. We can switch into play mode and see things in the world as they update. So you see you've got a bunch of killer squirrels going around in the world. Or we can pause that out. We come up here and open up a game view. Here, let's unfloat that. And resize. Got the corner here. Resize like so. And play, and here it's trapped our mouse cursor, we can run around and we can kill evil squirrels. So that is ultimately the Lumix engine. demo level that comes with it. Let's hit escape and exit out of that guy. Let's close that window down. So you've got a good idea of exactly what you're dealing with and how things work. Now the engine itself is split up into logical different chunks. Over here you can see the entity list. You can think of this as your scene graph. For example, here is the player and the hierarchy of controls being controlled by the player. So you can see the weapon that is attached to him, the muzzle that is attached to the weapon, the camera that the weapon is attached to, and then the player entity that owns all of this stuff. You'll notice that there are scripts attached. So there's a Lua script here. There's one for player.lua. And here you can see shooting.lua. So you can attach various scripts to entities in the scene. I believe if we scroll down, our scrolls have a creature script attached to them that is controlling their behavior. But otherwise, you can see up here in the top left, for each entity in our world, it is composed of components. Components are taking over the world. Most game engines these days have a top level, unique ID with a position, rotation, and scale, so the position of the object in the game world, and then you add other components to it. So this squirrel here has, for example, a renderable mesh, physics attached to it in the form of a kinematic box, and then we've got a Lua script attached and controlling this person. We're going to look at this in a second, how you create your own entities. Those Lua scripts are available down here in the assets view. So you see you can go into, for example, the scripts folder and the various different scripts that are available. So where did creature go? We're in tutorial, creature. So this is an example script that is controlling this guy here. We can open that up in an external editor. Bump, bump, bump. And here you see a Lua script example of how to do things in this particular game world. Documentation is a little lacking, I think, so you're kind of on your own about puzzling through exactly how you want your Lua script to work. But you see you've got this Lua script option for controlling your game logic. There is also, as mentioned earlier, plugins to support JavaScript or C# as your primary programming language as well. Yeah, that's kind of the extent of it. Over here, we've got various different editors available. There is an animation editor, an animation input, clip manager, fur painter, the game view we already saw. There is a GUI editing tool. Some of these get a little crashy at times, so I wasn't really going to go down this road. Yeah, let's just get out of there. We're just going to cause issues if I stick around. Asset import, as mentioned earlier on, you can bring in files such as textures, Ogg Vorbis sound files, FBX 3D animations, physics. So you got your various different options and settings and controls for your physics engine. All of those windows, like we just saw there, so I'll bring physics back up. If we wanted to keep this around, what we could do is bring it down and then dock it anywhere with our window. So here we'll dock it as a primary tab, and there you see the physics stuff is all available in this particular window. So you can split and dock any window down that way, as you can also grab any particular window, dock it in or to the side of, etc. So you can heavily customizability of your scenes in general. If you want to go ahead and create your own entity in the world, it's pretty straightforward as well. So we can come over here. So let's say I wanted to add a new entity here. So I'll just basically go entity, create, and then I could also I could save something as a prefab, and then we could create the entire hierarchy of entities all as one step. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to go to render, and I'm going to create a mesh. And I'm going to locate utils cube mesh. So there we go. We created a cube mesh in our scene. So you see now we have, again, the general information for where its position is, a render mesh, and we could change the mesh source right here. The materials applied to that guy, we could also change those out as well. So now we're going to go ahead and add another component to this. And we'll go in and get physics. And we'll add a box physics controller here. We will make that box physics controller dynamic so that gravity will affect this guy. Now, I don't actually know where you'd go and set the physics properties of things. I never actually figured that out. So things like restitution and friction, etc. I have no idea where you go ahead and configure those. But you'll see our box is substantially bigger than our underlying physics or mesh objects. What I'm going to just do is come in here and grab that guy. And we'll have it. We'll have it. And we'll have it. So if we wanted to go ahead and then add a script component to this guy, we could. So come in here, add a Lua script, and then you can either pick a new one, an empty one, or one of the existing scripts in the world, as you can see. But I'm not going to add a script at this particular point in time. We're good with this entity. Let's grab the entire thing. So here is our cube, and let's just move him up like that. By the way, standard WAS keys for navigating the view, shift and a key to move faster, and move that guy up a little bit, and we just go ahead and test our scene out. And there you see, physical object interacting with the scene. And then we have our killer scrolls running around in the world as well. We can navigate around this world as we wish. There is ultimately our play controller with the squirrels attacking it. Keep in mind you're going to want to go to the game view to actually test the game itself out. But that is pretty much how the world works, how the Lumix game engine works, and yeah, hopefully that piqued your interest a little bit. I'm not going to go into a whole lot more depth than that, but we did at least surface level skim through the functionality available here. We've also got tools for packing your data together. I think your games are limited to basically creating it for Windows, and I think that's about it. So if you're looking to create mobile games using this engine, I think you are currently at least out of luck. I do not know what the roadmap is for this particular game engine, but I do believe that it is basically for desktop computers only at this point in time. So that's it. It's basically a hobbyist project, but it's a professional looking and well-polished hobbyist project. It is GitHub, MIT licensed, so if you're looking for something to start from, or if you want to contribute to a project that's out there to maybe, try to make it better, we got a couple along this line. So we've got this one, Lumix, we've got Lyman, we've got Banshee Engine. There's actually a fair number of these C++ open source smaller game engines with a full editing environment to choose from. So we are really spoiled for choice in this world of game development. So there, finally, I did the video on the Lumix engine. I thought I already did. So hopefully you guys found that somewhat interesting. And again, I'm also interested in knowing, do you guys want videos on the weekend, or am I better off just waiting until Monday? Yeah, let me know. Comments down below, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye for now.